This episode of The Reality Check is brought to you by HelloFresh. Forget takeout. HelloFresh delivers all the ingredients for delicious, healthy meals anyone can prepare at home in less than 30 minutes. And HelloFresh is giving our Canadian checkers 50% off their first order. Go to hellofresh.ca and use promo code REALITY50 to get 50% off your first order. That's hellofresh.ca, promo code REALITY50. This is your reality check.
Hi everyone, and welcome to The Reality Check, the weekly Canadian show that explores a wide range of controversies and curiosities using science and critical thinking. This is the show for June 13th, 2017, and I'm your host, Darren McKee. With me, as usual, are Adam Gardner.
What's up, Cuboids?
Christina Roach.
Hello.
And producer Pat.
Hi, everyone.
We have three scintillating segments for you today. Adam is going to look into Himalayan salt lamps.
That's right.
He trekked all the way out there.
No, I didn't.
And Christina is going to explore what's so great about 350 degrees.
That's right.
But first, I'm going to look into whether the gas pump icon in your car indicates the side of your gas cap. After driving back from Wonder Woman, my friend and kind chauffeur said, "Did you know that the fuel icon indicates which side of the car your gas cap is on?" I said I had never heard that. And soon after that, I said that would make a great podcast topic. I thought it would be worthwhile if it was false, but also if it was true.
Yep.
So what's the story here? Well, good old Snopes.com, found that there was an email that began circulating on the internets in October 2007. I won't read the whole thing, but it goes something like this. I have been driving for many years. One would think I would have noticed the little secret on my dash that was staring me right in the face the whole time. I didn't, and I bet you probably haven't either. It asks if you know which side your gas tank is on, then explains the handle of your gas pump will extend in the direction of your gas tank. This is the handle of the gas pump icon on your dashboard. Now, of course, it should be gas cap. Gas tank is throughout the car.
Handle of the gas pump.
So the little icon has a gas pump handle,
Yeah.
and that is supposed to be the side of your gas cap.
Well, my little icon has a little arrow next to it. And that really helps me.
Maybe it will. And then this email ends with, "It's that simple." And also, "Why don't the dealers share such important information with car buyers? I have on purpose asked many car salesmen since I found this out, and, all caps, they don't even know this. No one did."
Well, it's because Big Oil wants you to waste extra gas moving your car around when you park your car the wrong way for the first few months when you get a new car and keep forgetting that it's on the different side.
Exactly that. It's more that we haven't covered a chain letter in a while, and they are amusing. Like, I didn't know this. I bet you don't either. And it ends with saying, no one knows this. So from Snopes, here's the quote. "The nozzle and hose side of the fuel level indicator, which is usually presented as an icon depicting a gas pump, doesn't consistently correspond with the side of the car where the fuel door is to be found. Damn. Nor does its placement on the instrument array, left side versus right side, tell you whether you should bring the passenger's or driver's side up next to the pumps at your local gas station."
Shut the front door. I've heard this and I thought it was true.
Boom. Pump some truth right there. But don't lose hope. In newer models of cars, as Adam indicated, there's a triangle adjacent to the fuel icon that does indeed point to the direction of your gas cap. In conclusion, the truth is that your car, if it's newer, can indicate which side of your vehicle you should pump on, but it's the triangle, not the fuel pump icon, that provides that information.
Yeah, I only learned this recently. So I used to have a Honda Civic and had the cap on the left side, and I got my Subaru, which had on the right side. And I always forget, and a few times, like, I parked my car and I was angry and I turned it around. And my girlfriend told me, "Oh yeah, just check the little arrow. There's a little life hack." How did I not know this?
They don't want you to know, Adam.
Yeah. The arrow's more obvious, because once you see it, you're like, well, yeah, obviously. Otherwise, what's that arrow serving? It has to have a function. But yeah, I'd never heard anything about the actual side of the pump. But that's a kind of weird one, because if it actually matches with the side that your car has the hole on, you'll be like, "Oh, confirmed. It's totally true, totally legit."
Exactly. It would be true in a certain amount of cases, right?
About 50%.
From the world of gas pump indicators to the world of Himalayan salt lamps, a natural transition. Adam, what's a Himalayan salt lamp?
I was walking around my office a few weeks ago, and I noticed that an employee that was new to my work area had a peculiar-looking lamp on her desk. A desk lamp in a cubicle farm is always a bit surprising, as the building and cubicle setup includes the lighting necessary for most employees' needs. The lamp looked like a huge illuminated chunk of salt. Cool looking, but, I wondered, must this lamp be here in order to impart some nonsense magical benefit? A brief search informed me that this was a Himalayan salt lamp, and indeed, its purpose was some serious pseudoscientific bullshit.
Serious bullshit. Not like that. Unserious bullshit.
Adam, when our son broke his ankle, the Shoppers Drug Mart in the hospital had these on display, and I was flabbergasted.
In the hospital. Upsetting. So what is this thing? In short, it's a lamp, either with a candle or an incandescent bulb, inside a chunk of salt, which uses a bunch of buzzword-related nonsense to impart many positive health benefits, ranging from the vague and impossible to prove otherwise to the implausible and unproven.
What do you really think?
That's in a nutshell. So, what is Himalayan salt? It's a rock salt from the Punjab region of Pakistan, which is about 310 kilometers from the Himalayas. I guess salt, which is from a little over 300 kilometers from the Himalaya, wasn't as catchy a name. Chemically, it's pretty much like table salt, except with some impurities, which gives it a pink or reddish hue, which makes for a lovely lamp. Now, table salt is sort of refined salt, but most sort of natural salts, sea salts, and salts from other mines would basically have a very similar chemical breakdown. Himalayan salts have a ton of pseudoscientific beliefs associated with them. It can be used in food, like table salt, which comes with many unfounded health claims. It can be used in a bath, as a bath salt, to draw out toxins and other such nonsense. Salt inhalers can be used to prevent asthma and reduce snoring. And I'm not going to get into all of this other nonsense about Himalayan salts, but so much to say, if it suggests that it will do something that table salt won't, due to the minerals, which are impurities, it's likely nonsense. So let's look at some of the claims from those that believe that salt lamps actually work. They will supposedly increase blood flow, reduce allergy symptoms by clearing the air of dust, allergens, smoke, and odors, prevent insomnia, or generally help with sleep, reduce mental health disorders, improve skin conditions, help with asthma and colds, kill airborne bacteria and mold spores, and there's other vague benefits like boosting your mood. So, how does this work? What is the supposed mechanism of this fantastic lamp? Most of the claims tie the benefits back to them generating negative ions.
Oh, here we go with the negative ions.
Can't we just be more positive?
So herein lies the problem with modern pseudoscience. They're taking our scientific language. You tell someone that a crystal helps their energy because it has some kind of magic, and they'll laugh at you. You tell them that it's quantum something, Magnus this or that, or ionic whatchamacallit, and you've got yourself a convincing scientific-sounding bit of nonsense. So what do these negative ions supposedly do? Well, they combat air pollution, they attract harmful particles which are positively charged, and then balance and neutralize them, eliminating their damaging characteristics. Really, it often comes down to these terrible positive ions. I don't know who came up with these names. Negative is a good word, and positive is bad. That's kind of bad PR. I think they got it a little backwards here, but whatever. The website healthyandnaturalworld.com describes positive ions as atoms or molecules that have lost or gained an electron and are electrically charged. I can't say that I'm surprised that these hardworking people who are talking about the benefits of salt lamps are getting their facts wrong, but this is kind of nonsense. Electrons are negatively charged, so an atom missing one is positively charged, and an atom with an extra one would be negatively charged. The idea that the negative ion is the neutralizer and the positive ion is the charged one is just totally wrong. That's just not how that works. A static charge, like the one you get from rubbing your shoes on a carpet, can be positive or negative. It just needs to be a charge, and any difference of charge between two objects can cause that electric shock from touching another person, a doorknob, or your cats. So what's the deal with these positive ions, which are very harmful to us and need to be neutralized? Well, they're generated by all of our electronic devices. TVs, computers, cell phones, Wi-Fi, microwaves, all sorts of appliances. Some reference these as electromagnetic radiation, others as EMF, basically the same thing. So negativeionizers.net gets into a different take on the mechanism. It explains that salt is hygroscopic, meaning that it attracts water molecules. And this is true, but the idea here is that it attracts water vapor, which is attached to pollutants. Now, these would deposit on the lamp, which would then evaporate the water, leaving the pollutants on the salt, and you could just wipe it off every once in a while. The size of the lamp is usually rated for the size of the room that it can purify and ionize. So this lady at my work, she certainly isn't saving the whole floor, but maybe she's saving her cubicle.
Maybe she's trying, Adam. And your negative/positive ions are ruining things.
Yeah, I don't mind. So usually with this kind of product, you find a lot of sites that claim to be skeptical about the product, and then they end up saying that they tried it and it works, and hey, you can buy one here. This particular product had this funny twist to it that a lot of people said, well, yes, they work, and they do make negative ions, but not as much as this machine, which makes a ton of negative ions, and you can buy it here. So there's always someone trying to sell something, and it's always tricky for this. We have certain language that we know to look for, so I can look for something skeptic or whatever. But a lot of the times, people will hear about a product like this, and they will do a specific search to say, do Himalayan salt lamps work? And they'll get a link that says, like, do Himalayan salt lamps work? I really wanted to know. I was doubtful. I was skeptical, blah, blah, blah. Here you can buy one for $39.95. And that's really disappointing because people are trying to educate themselves, and they don't all listen to the reality check. So at this point, we've had a lot of claims, but we can really break it down to two questions. Do salt lamps actually create negative ions? And do negative ions have any health benefits? If one or both of these can be shown to be false, the whole idea falls apart, and maybe you shouldn't buy a Himalayan salt lamp. Victor Stenger, a professor of physics and astronomy at the University of Hawaii in Honolulu, says that there isn't anywhere near enough energy in the lamp to break up the ionic bonds between the sodium and chlorine in salt. And I quote, "If that were true, we'd have chlorine gas coming out of our salt shakers." I think I'm probably glad that doesn't work. So if they did produce ions, such as those other machines that have some disreputable sites trying to trick you into buying them, would that even work? Well, it doesn't look like it. Researchers from the Division of Respiratory Medicine at University Hospital Basel in Switzerland did a review of research on complementary and alternative medicine for bronchial asthma between 2002 and 2004, found that the studies did not support the use of homeopathy, air ionizers, manual therapy, or acupuncture for asthma. So that was one of the main claims. It's talking about cleaning the air. It's talking about helping for your lungs and things like that. No evidence that this does anything or it's of any benefit. Additionally, this is largely a solution to a non-existing problem. As appealing as it may be to think that all of our modern devices are negatively affecting our health, this just isn't true. And we've covered this a ton of times before on this show. We talked about fear of Wi-Fi. There's a lot of people had those concerns. That's nonsense. People worried about power lines or getting cancer from cell phones. All sorts of devices which are supposed to counter those effects, such as grounding mats, EMF balancers, which are just pots full of dirt and other little things you can put on your phone. These don't do anything because there's no problem in the first place. It's kind of all nonsense. There's no risk, and the products claiming to be products against these are a scam, just like this thing is. Himalayan salt lamps. They're not Himalayan. They are salt, and they are lamps.
Hey, that's 66% true. That's not bad.
Yeah,
a lot of things are more false than that.
Boy.
They don't produce negative ions. If they did, those negative ions wouldn't do anything they're claimed to do. It's all nonsense. These are decent looking, though at times expensive lamps. Don't waste your money unless you just think it's pretty, but realize you're supporting something that's kind of sketchy.
Thank you, Adam, for that illuminating segment. Certainly with the heat wave lately in Ottawa, it feels like things have been set to about 350 degrees. Come to think of it, why is things often set to 350 degrees? Cristina?
I always love coming across something that I'm surprised I don't know the answer to. The Atlantic recently published an article that fell into that category called What's So Great About 350 Degrees? Now, if you cook or bake using a modern oven in North America, you may have noticed that your oven automatically preheats to 350 degrees with the press of a button. Now, I'm assuming outside of North America, it's similarly 180 degrees Celsius, but perhaps our international checkers can write in and let me know. Now, I've never really given this much thought, but why 350? Was there a memo, an oven temperature conference? What is so magical about 350 degrees, or is it just an arbitrary temperature? Okay, so a little bit of history about ovens to put things in context, and I know that might sound very boring, but trust me, it's actually quite interesting. As Adrienne Lafrance writes in The Atlantic, it was common even in the 1950s to see terms like slow oven or moderate oven used instead of precise temperatures. It wasn't until the 20th century that recipes started to routinely include precise temperatures thanks to technological advances and the introduction of a device called the regulator. In 1919, the New York Tribune wrote a piece about the Clark Joule gas range, and here's an excerpt because it's so awesome I have to read it to you guys. The regulator makes scientific cooking possible to the most unscientific woman. And few realize how many perfect recipes are spoiled by wrong handling of the oven heat.
Oh, silly women.
Even if the housewife does not know that a slow oven is about 250 to 300 degrees, a moderate oven 350, a hot oven 400 to 450, and very hot 450 to 475, the little wheel of the regulator tells her these facts in words as well as in figures, and she can translate any recipe that calls for a moderate or slow or hot oven accordingly.
Wow.
Would this be considered mansplaining?
Is there also a section about a slow, moderate, or hot woman? Because then that really would be a bit much.
Yeah. So I know that the ability to set a temperature on an oven is ingrained, and that's just what we expect ovens to do. But back in the day when regulators were developed, they were a marvel of automation. The device typically involved a pointer or wheel that you could turn to your chosen temperature, and it was connected to a thermometer and valve contraption that would expand as the oven got hotter, but it would prevent the temperature from going higher when it reached the upper limit. Temperature regulators became standardized, and displays are now digitized with ovens preheating at the touch of a button. Now, that's quite the departure from the days when cooks used old school methods like, throwing a piece of white paper in the oven, and if it turns brown, it means your oven should be at the proper temperature. That was cited in the Indiana Weekly Messenger in 1903.
I put a book on top, like next to it, but not touching the actual oven. And then if it ignites, then it's probably roughly 451 degrees Fahrenheit.
Nice.
Adam made the same joke I was going to make, but took much longer to do it.
Sorry.
So fast forward to 2017. If you're an avid or professional cook, you likely already know that different ovens set to the same temperature can vary by as much as 90 degrees, which can be a problem depending on what you're cooking or baking. In order to get consistent results, you really need a good oven thermometer. In late 2015, Cook's Illustrated magazine conducted some research into oven temperatures by using a high-tech digital thermometer to take the temperature of 5 different home ovens preheated to 350 degrees. Some of the ovens in their tests were off by as much as 50 degrees.
Wow.
So one of the biggest reasons they cited for this is that an oven's internal thermometer only gauges the temperature of the location where it's installed. So that's typically an out-of-the-way part of the oven box. But these areas in the oven can be affected by hot spots or drafts, which in turn makes the temperature differ from the center of the oven where you mostly cook food. The temperature can also fluctuate a bit, so it could rise to 400 or it could dip down to 300 during the cooking process, even when it says it's set at 350 degrees. So the only really surefire way to know what the temperature is in the middle of your oven is by using a freestanding oven thermometer. Okay, why 350 degrees? Why is that the sweet spot for your oven preset and for so many recipes? Well, it's not magic, as Bill Nye would say, it's science. More specifically, it's chemistry. 350 degrees is the temperature level associated with something called the Maillard reaction, M-A-I-L-L-A-R-D, named after chemist Louis-Camille Maillard. The Maillard reaction, which is really a series of reactions, refers to the chemical reaction between amino acids and reducing sugars, which gives foods their complex, distinctive flavor profile and that mouth-watering golden brown color. So Mayald began studying the reaction between amino acids and sugars in 1912. More specifically, the reactive carbonyl group of the sugar interacts with the nucleophilic amino group of the amino acid. In the process, he discovered that proteins and sugars in various foods unlock tasty new molecules at around 350 degrees. So various types of food have a distinctive set of flavor compounds that form during the Maillard reaction, and interestingly, these same compounds are what flavor scientists have used to create artificial flavors over the years. Now, there's a bit of a debate at what the exact temperature should be. Some say 335, and many chefs actually don't really fixate on any one specific temperature. But 350 is, simply put, a moderate temperature that works well for many recipes, as it's just hot enough to cook things fairly quickly, but it's not too hot to burn your food. So I guess they could have probably nicknamed it the Goldilocks effect too, huh? So according to the authors of a Royal Society of Chemistry book titled The Maillard Reaction, quote, "Without Maillard chemistry, we would not have a dark bread crust or golden brown turkey. Our cakes and pastries would be pale and anemic, and we would lose the distinctive color of French onion soup." Now, on the flip side, the Maillard reaction is also responsible for making apples turn brown, so it does have a downside. So there you go, a nice little fact you can tell at your next dinner party.
Or just tell people to listen to our show. Just as good.
True.
You know what's interesting? What's that? Actually, here's a link.
http://trcpodcast.com/
That's a great URL. And it's a good segment. Thank you, Cristina. And thank you, listeners, for joining us once again. I showed you that the inside of your car can tell you which side your gas cap is on, but look for the triangle, not at the pump icon itself.
And if you think hard enough, the inside of your brain can tell you too.
And Adam showed us that the Himalayan Salt Lamp is not based on any good science and is not worth your money to get them. And finally, Cristina explored why 350 degrees is often a preset temperature for ovens for baking, and it really is just the sweet spot to unlock those happy, tasty molecules.
Hey, Darren, before you sign us off here, I just wanted to say a special shout out and congratulations to Checker Dave. He had a new baby, little Ava Victoria, just about a week ago. So congrats, Dave.
Congrats. And thanks for listening once again. Until next time, think better to act better.
Peace out, Q-Boys.
Stay classy, not smart-assy.
Good night, everyone.
For show notes or to discuss this episode, visit our Facebook page and website at trcpodcast.com. For general inquiries or to send a topic or parody suggestion, email info@trcpodcast.com. Help support the show by leaving a review on iTunes and liking us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at TRC_podcast.
Thanks.
Darren, you're worldly. What do you say?
Your world.
Well, I didn't, just a second.
My stove's in Kelvin, so it's, whatever that is.
Oh, wait, whatever that is.
450-ish?
Let's just
457?
enjoy Adam's
47?
ignorance after trying to sound smart. Himalayan salt lamps don't work. Don't get them. It's based on bad science. But be nice to people who happen to have them.
Or lick it, see what happens.
And finally,
Seriously,
Cristina.
no, I need something to work with.
All right.
Stay classy, not smart-assy.
Pardon me.
Are we now congratulating
okay?
people for having unprotected sex?
I was thinking of a joke, that's why I didn't say anything.
It's a pretty low bar.
Just, I have to say good night, everyone.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, now do whatever you want.
I thought you did.
Hey, what's up? It's Cardinal Official bringing you CBC's Becoming Canadian, the awesome new documentary series that captures citizenship ceremonies across the country and reveals amazing, inspiring, and heartwarming stories of those who became Canadians this year. It's part of CBC's Canada 150 celebrations and premieres Monday, June 26th at 8 and 8:30 p.m. on CBC. Want more amazing stories of new Canadians? Go to anticaproductions.com to get more stories and to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BecomingCDN.